Mr. Howard, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Amiditz?
Here.
Mrs. Buckley?
Here.
Dr. Campbell? Mrs. Cook?
Here.
Mrs. Dovis?
Here.
Mr. Means?
Present.
Mrs. Rule? Mr. Schubel?
Present.
Mr. Spacuzza?
Present.
We have 7 members present this evening.
Thank you, sir. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to make one under the Curriculum Committee, please.
Yes, ma'am.
The number one, the first motion will read, the Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve the following students' graduation at the end of the first semester, January 16, 2015, having successfully completed all requirements for high school graduation.
Thank you. Are there any others? Then I need a motion to approve the agenda as corrected.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 7-0. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 18, 2014, and the reorganization meeting of December 2nd, 2014.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 7-0. I need to announce executive sessions held November 18, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information, and December 9th, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Staff report? No staff report this evening. No student government this evening. PTA, PTO council? Aha!
Hi, I'm Becky Zinsmeister, and this is Angie Tigert, and we are the co-presidents of the William Penn PTO. So obviously we're starting with the William Penn. The William Penn had a very successful Spirit Night at Chick-fil-A on November 20th. We just ended our Sarah's Candy fundraiser. It was Spirit Day on November 21st, and the students wore their orange and black to show their Bethel Park pride. William Penn PTO did their service project with the Bethel Park Police Pals Adopt the Family program. Our wonderful students donated an unbelievable amount of money that the PTO will be using to buy various grocery store gift cards to donate to the Adopt the Family program. The character trait education program continued this month by asking all students to wear a special color that coordinates with the trait of the month. This month's trait was acceptance, and the corresponding color was light green, and the students wore their light green on Friday, December 5th to show their acceptance. On December 6th, the PTO held their breakfast with Santa, and there was also a Santa shop that the students could get gifts for various members of their families. We also sponsored an assembly dealing with character traits in November, and Jeff the Geode Guy is coming next week for the 3rd graders. Ben Franklin. There is much holiday spirit at Ben Franklin this month with a Santa shop going on this week and with a Santa breakfast on Saturday. The students and their families just finished up the Sarah's Candy and Five Below fundraisers, which the PTO believes were 2 big successes. The PTO is also helping with the Girl Scouts Pay It Forward and the Police Pals food drive. They are also joining with the Ben Franklin teachers with an Adopt a Family. The PTO has 2 assemblies going on this month. All grades will get to see the Sadecki puppet show, and the 3rd graders will get to see Jeff the Geode Guy and hear about his most recent adventures. Ben Franklin will end the month with the holiday parties being on Friday the 19th. Happy holidays. George Washington. The Santa breakfast this past weekend was a huge success with over 200 people attending. The students will be performing at the holiday sing-along tonight at 7 p.m. at the Bethel Park High School. George Washington has once again teamed up with the Pittsburgh Party and Garden in the Hillcrest Shopping Center on 88. For every Christmas tree or wreath purchased with one of the school's coupons, a donation will be made to the PTO. The students are busy shopping this week at the Holiday Gift Shop, which runs until Friday the 12th. Holiday classroom parties will be celebrated on Monday, December 22nd. George Washington Elementary PTO would like to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday. Memorial. Memorial had a Sarah's fundraiser that was very successful. They also had a Five Below fundraiser. This was their first time that they tried this mini fundraiser. It was easy to do, and parents liked the ease and convenience of just buying whatever they wanted at Five Below, and also the fact that it was raising money for their school. Memorial had a 3-day holiday shop, and all 15 classes were able to shop for their family and friends during non-instruction time. They also had a holiday festival, and it was a great night at the school doing crafts, games, photos, cookies, hot chocolate, and even a guest appearance from Santa. On behalf of Angie and the William Penn PTO, I would like to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you. Solicitors report?
The office, I passed out the solicitor's report earlier.
Terrific. Do you have any committee meetings? No. Public comments on agenda items. Anything on the agenda? Then we'll move into the curriculum committee, and we have 3 items under that. Does anyone have any questions on any of those 3 items?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Under the high school course selection guide, Janet, could you explain the elimination of the graduation project and the new recommendation for the
Sure.
graduation?
In last spring, the Pennsylvania Department of Ed applied for and got a waiver for the SE, the Elementary Schools Secondary Elementary Act. There was a waiver that was attached to that. Chapter 4 for Pennsylvania changed, which then in Chapter 4 graduation requirements. As part of the graduation requirements, they removed the part of the language that required a graduation project for graduation requirements, and added in that the class of 2017 has to be proficient in the Keystone, which includes biology, Algebra 1, and our 10th grade English class. Our literature Keystone is given after each of those classes. So because the Pennsylvania Department of Ed has changed the expectation on school districts, the Bethel Park School District in September of 2014 approved new graduation requirements that took out the graduation project and put in the Keystone assessments.
So do we have to change our graduation policy to put in the Keystone assessments? It's not in there.
Right now, what we will do with the course selection guide is approve these changes, and then we'll revise the policy to match what
Yeah,
we
I was
approved.
just asking if we should do
We
that.
probably will need to do that.
And also,
It's in the, is it in the graduation requirements or just in the course selection guide, that, in our policy?
In the policy was revised in 2014, took out the graduation
So it already
project
went out,
and
yeah.
put in the state assessment, which is the Keystones. So it's, the
That was part of the
policy
policies we
in
redid
2000,
early
the
in the
policy
spring.
217.
Got it, thank you.
I don't know if we put in the test. We
I have
took
a,
out-
I have a
we took out the
copy of it.
graduation.
Yeah.
We did,
Mhm.
that I
Okay.
do recall.
Okay. And then the other question, the reading ruling that the school board, you have to be able to pass a test. If you can't pass the test, you have to take reading. You know what I'm talking
The
about?
remediation,
The remediation, yeah, it's not a policy, but it was a,
it's the law, so.
Okay.
It's a law basically that the students who are not proficient must be remediated within the school day. So
Okay.
we have classes that provide for that as well.
Yeah, and anything that was the law, we tried not to write policy around it. We tried to keep it separate, that if it's the law, we just follow the law so that our policy doesn't have to, kind of, if the law changes, then we have to redo the policy sort of thing, so.
right, well, there was a reading requirement that the board had passed in years past, and it doesn't have the new language in it. So I didn't know whether we had to revisit or revoke it, since now you're saying that it's.
Right, I recall what you're talking about now. Prior to remediation being required by the state,
Mhm.
the district had a
Required it.
recommendation
Mhm.
that didn't have a lot of teeth in it at first about remediating kids who weren't performing to a certain level of proficiency based on other measures. When the state required that, then it was no longer an issue. So we really haven't revisited that language.
And-
It was adopted more as a practice than as a policy.
Mrs. Rose, as far as the policy is concerned, and I can quote it, it's policy 217, and it says the board shall adopt a graduation requirement students must achieve, which shall include course completion and grades and results of district and state assessments. Now, we didn't name Keystones specifically in the policy because we weren't sure if that was what the state assessment was going to maintain, because it went from PSSAs to Keystones, and we just kind of did it as a blank state assessment, inferring the Keystone assessment.
And I think it's probably better to keep that language,
for the
because
same
again,
reason,
if they
if it
change it,
changes.
we don't have to change our policy, we just go along.
That's what the intent was at the time. And as well as, and I just, one of the, in the course selection guide, I did ask, just because we renew that, we do that every year, I did ask the administration at the high school to be a little bit more specific in the graduation requirement in the course selection guide to stipulate at this point in time Keystones, because it's something that we
Because do
renew
update that
annually.
Right, that makes sense. Any other questions on the 3 items under the curriculum committee? Then I'll turn it over to Mrs. Buckley.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. There are 3 items under curriculum this evening. Would anyone like any of those items held out? Hearing none, I move under curriculum number 1, the January graduation list, 2, high school course selection guide, and number 3, school-sponsored overnight educational activity, forensics competition.
Second.
Items 1 through 3 under curriculum committee have been moved by Mrs. Buckley and seconded by Mr. Means. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 7-0. Personnel committee, Mr. Amidits, will you take that for me this evening? Oh, wait, first, any questions? I forgot I'm doing a combined meeting here. Then, Mr. Amidits, will you take that for me this evening? Thanks.
Okay, we have 3 items under Personnel Committee this evening. Anybody want any held out? Hearing none, I move items 1 through 3. Item number 1 being the approval of substitute. Item number 2 being the acceptance of acceptance of resignation. Item number 3 being appointment of personnel. Second.
Yeah. Items 1 through 3 under personnel have been moved by Mr. Amidits and seconded by Mr. Spacuzza. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 7-0. Finance committee, and Mr. Means, will you take that for me this evening? First, any questions?
Are there any
keep forgetting
questions?
I'm doing a combined meeting again.
Are there any questions on the
He can
Finance
help that
Committee?
up.
I have one. With the change in the bus bid, what's the status of that now?
Well, we're not going to move on anything with that at this point in time, right? That's cool.
In the previous, the November meeting, we passed for the buses. There was a situation where there might be the one company not able to provide, but at the last minute Friday, they were able to provide the buses. So the status is that it will hold with the motion made in November.
We're awaiting another bid, is that what?
No. The bids were all awarded at the November meeting.
Okay.
And then, but the one company thought that they might not be able to provide 24 passenger buses, so we were gonna reject them, but at the last minute Friday.
Okay. We ready?
Yep.
Okay. There are 3 items on the Finance Committee. Would anybody like any of them withheld? Seeing none, I move that the November 2014 salaries and bills, number 2, the bill list for the December 2014 meeting, and number 3, approval of student services contract be approved.
Second.
Items 1 through 3 under Finance Committee have been moved by Mr. Means and seconded by Mrs. Buckley. All in favor of these items say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 7-0. Public comments, anything that you would like to address the board on this evening? Board comments?
I would just like to wish everyone a blessed holiday season.
Thank you, Mr. Means.
Echoes my sentiments too. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mrs. Buckley.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Spacuzza.
I don't know, I'm gonna think about this for a second. no, I'll pass on the ball home, I think. I would just wish everyone a very safe and happy holiday season.
Thank you. Mr. Shubel.
Yeah, I had the experience on Saturday afternoon to go and watch our boys' basketball team play Alderdice High School from the city. And it was a wonderful afternoon. I had the experience of having the chance to talk to some of the Alderdice parents. And it was a very interesting, revealing conversation. They were just overwhelmed by our facility, and some of them had the opportunity to tour the lobby and see more of the school and the cafeteria, and were just so complimentary about our facility. And it made me think. I'm a guy who grew up in a city and played basketball in a lot of those city gyms, and it gave me a sense of empathy because, you know, as we all know, those city school kids, and they're struggling with facilities and resources and finances, and it was a heartfelt moment for me because I felt a real sense of empathy for those parents and those kids, and also got to thinking about how blessed we are to have such a facility and to have these resources available. And I was just thinking of the contrast in those poor folks' minds, what they experienced that afternoon in our high school and what those kids have in the city. So it was a very interesting afternoon. The only bad thing was Alderdice beat us. So. But other than that, I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Mr. Amidits.
Well said, Mr. Shubel. It's just another thing I believe for us to be thankful for. As we say it here, every meeting we usually have a nice report that goes on for about 10 minutes about all the accolades from our students and staff and community. And we didn't have that tonight, so without forgetting that, though, we are so thankful, and as Chuck has mentioned, we have such a good community, so I appreciate that, and I just want everybody else to think about that as well, especially during this time of the year. Have a safe and wonderful holiday.
Thank you. And I echo the sentiments of my fellow board members. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for all you do. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.